Jojo dreams of mysteries untold of the woman who lived in the stories of old. Maria, oh Maria, with eyes like stars so bright, guiding through darkness into the light. He hears her whispers in the moon's soft glow. In the secrets of the wind, her voice seems to flow. Maria Orsic, the world changer unseen. In Jojo's heart, you become his queen. Maria, Maria, rise from the past. With Jojo beside you, his legacy will last. Changing the world one heart at a time. In his dreams, he hears your rhyme. She speaks of love, of unity and peace, of a future where wars and divide cease. Maria, guiding Jojo's heart so true, with a vision of a world that feels brand new. She came with wisdom, timeless and strong, telling Jojo the world we all get along. With every word, she lights his way. Maria, Maria, rise from the past. With Jojo beside you, your legacy will last. Changing the world one heart at a time. In his dreams, he is your rhyme. Through the veil of time, her spirit shines, helping Jojo see the world's inside. She shows him how love can break every chain, turning his sorrow into hope again. So here's to Maria, the mother of dreams, with hope and love for the human race. Maria, Maria, forever stay in Jojo's heart, you're guiding his way. With visions of light and the world reborn, he carries your spirit from dusk till dawn. We're changing the world one heart at a time. In his dreams, he is your rhyme. For Jojo, a heart so true, with Maria Orsic guiding him through. Changing the world in her name, he holds her lights, igniting the flame.
Okay. Healing from the Vril Mother, and greetings, brothers and sisters. March 30th, 2026, and we're coming to you at 3:33 a.m. St. Lucifer, Missouri. And we say Miss Urea. And we're going to jump straight into, tonight's reading. We're continuing from this book. Well, hold on. Let me show you something. Let me show you a couple things. As I make you watch me drink. Okay. After May 5th, 2024, and I met Lucifer, that would be Lulu. After I met Lucifer, and they were teaching me about how they were one, and how I didn't really have the context. I was saying that, and I did not know what it meant. You know, people say it, they think marriage or whatever makes you one, but it's actually something real. You know, it's actually the frequency, vibrational ability to switch bodies. You know, and I actually was like a witness to this. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I seen how Maria and Donna were one. I seen how Maria, Donna, and Lou were one. How Lou and Donna were one. It wasn't familiarity. It wasn't best friends. We call that Anamkara, which means spiritual best friend or eternal best friend. We do believe that it's a choice to see, to witness, to be the observer of what's eternal. People who deny it because they're eternal. That's how they deal with being eternal. And I think that Maria is correct that uh, this isn't. We don't have anything that's universally true to everyone except the laws of nature and basically the laws of the true self, the law of the true self. But after I really witnessed them being one, the ability to switch bodies, the night that I really realized, like, damn, that's why I'm sort of alone. Because I didn't even know this was possible, and I had the wrong context for being one with someone. Actually, the person I thought I was one with at the time, energy wise, felt like she hated me. She would not do anything to help me. And basically, like a ally of the United States military, kind of threw the energy with the rest of the world of like, fuck you. Like they're doing to Iran, like they did to Iraq, like they did to Afghanistan. They did to Germany in World War II. Oh, you think it's different people because you're scared. You're scared of being poor. You're scared of saying the J banker word. Yeah. L, go, rhythm. Do you hear me? Heil L. Now go and hit the rhythm, the algorithm. Do you got that? Do you got that, banker motherfucker? You got that? You would suck a fucking dirty dollar off for a penny, wouldn't you? These are the bankers, the lovers of shekels and pennies. But in the public, they want to play down the stereotype, so they'll tip well. And after I really witnessed people who were one with each other, and I never did witness that, I know a lot of people who are like, I married my best friend, we're one. I learned that night they were as dumb as me and as full of it's not, I know you're not doing it on purpose. I wasn't doing it on purpose, but you're full of shit because you don't know the context. You know what I mean? You're like a child that eats nothing but candy bars and then, switches diets and starts eating, real grass fed wild meat and absolutely cannot believe the difference. After I hope that makes sense. Maria, who's here with us now, we'll get to our reading, right? I witnessed them being one, being very happy together, dancing. It's all about dance for Mama Maria. It's a nonstop dance party. It's sometimes a war dance against the goddamn lovers of evil. And we're going to keep saying it over and over. If you don't hate evil, we hate you. And if you hate evil, we love you. If you don't hate evil, we hate you. You don't have to be evil for us to hate you. You just don't have to feel anything, right? When the bankers kill, I don't know, 20 million civilians. Oh, who cares? Quit talking about World War II, nigga. Well, in the name of the ultimate avatar, after the next ritual, and I was like, wow, I had no idea what it really meant to be one with someone. I went outside and I just walked straight to this sitting in the yard, in my backyard. Nobody knows where it came from. One. You can say I'm crazy, you can say I make shit up, you can say it's a coincidence. But this is my little magic wand. And with it, I open your chakras by giving you the courage to drink 5 grams of good, not old, mushrooms. And some 12 years previous, Maria was telling me all about her life, and she's always been telling about her life on Earth after I knew she was Maria. She was telling me all about her horse, Georgia. Greatest horse in the world, sweetest horse in the world. She'll always be with Maria. Even though Georgia is a magical person herself, travels through astral dimensions as animals do automatically. They don't have to think about it. And there was some connection also to like the Lord of the Rings movie I was watching, the whole series I was watching. I've always liked it. I was reading, listening to the books at the time. And it all kind of connected when I went outside after that big horse talk, in which I, kind of know now was very Sagittarius. It was a very Sagittarian talk. I went outside. I did not know what I was doing. I walked straight through the yard and looked down and picked up this. And no one knew where it came from. I didn't have any grandkids at the time. I had, all my kids are grown. And no one knew where this came from. And anyone that's ever picked it up knows that there's something about it, right? Everyone knows there's something about it. Can't quite put your finger on it, but there's something about it, right? And as we look at Maria, actually it looks more like Sigrun. Siggy's hair is a little darker than Maria's. I wouldn't, if I seen Siggy in the world, I wouldn't call her a blonde. But her hair is light brown with, she's so beautiful. And I haven't seen her in a while, but she really made, if I may say, Maria, Siggy really came, for some reason, I guess it's between them two, she really came in to prepare for our vril sister Amy, for Amy's initiation, because I was told that we all know Amy's real husband, Calvishon, which is such a fucking great name. I don't know, it's magic or something. It's just something. And I don't know if I've ever told this story, but I had just, overwhelming supernatural shit happening to me and I did not even know this girl. I did not grow up with this girl. Matter of fact, she was my supervisor at work. And just week after week, I would be told about her husband who died. And I don't know, somehow I knew that, I think, already. And or maybe I didn't. I can't even remember. But just all kinds of crazy shit was happening. And he kept telling me, like, you got to encourage, Aunt Amy to be initiated, to come into this group, right? And he kept using the word over and over, magic. Like, it's like it has a different meaning where we're from. He's like, she needs to be in the magic group. She needs to be in the I don't think he ever said the word gathering, but and again, 5 kept coming up. And one day she walked out of my supervisor, Amy, walked out of, I think this is how it happened. Something like this, at least. This is no bullshit. I'll be quick about this. She came out and she said, look what I found. This Magic the Gathering card. She said it was like trapped underneath the desk, And I don't know anything about Magic the Gathering card, whatever, game. But I looked at it and there was like 5 colors of the chakras, on the outside of the card. And I was like, man, dude, this has all been said to me. I flipped it over. And her husband, who had died from a brain aneurysm at 25, I think she said, was telling me that the only thing that's bothering him on the other side is I turned the card over, and it was exactly what he had been telling me on the astral plane. The card was the pirate. And he told me, basically, I mean, you can be offended if you want. I'm not going to use the word because I don't want to get kicked off YouTube. But he told me, basically, that he wasn't necessarily jealous because he wanted Amy to be happy. He wanted her to have somebody there. But he was like, the dude who's there right now is a goddamn banker. He might be African, but he's an African fucking banker ass nigger. And I hope that don't get me kicked off. I don't mean black people. Algorithm. Go L, go L, go L. And L is backwards for what? Lee. Lee what? Leo. Everything goes back to astrotheology, astromythology. It goes back to Jewish shit. That's because you are one, nigga. And this is no bullshit. So the next time I seen it, I can't believe I think this was before. I don't know if this was before or after. Yeah, I think it was before she was initiated. Forgive me for not having always a photographic memory. I can't. Sometimes I can only remember what I can remember in the moment. But this is the truth. I said to him, I actually, let me back up. He said to me, he said, I know this is crazy for you. He said, but I'm going to completely show you for sure that I'm the one to put the Magic the Gathering card there. Her husband who died 10 years previous. And this is no bullshit. This is no bullshit. I just want to say, I wasn't really struggling believing him because I had met many dead people at that time. And I like meeting dead people. I compare it to how Maria must look at me in the Matrix. It's like they're so authentic. They're just being authentic and they don't know what the fuck's going on. It's kind of funny in a, innocent way. But anyway, he was saying to me, like, I want you to know for sure. I want her to know for sure. I'm going to do something. You'll know it's me. No bullshit. on Christmas Eve, I had to work. She had to work. I walked into the bathroom and just plain as fucking day. And just do what? Why are Magic the Gathering cards just laying place? I walk in and there is a Magic the Gathering card laying on the bench in front of my fucking locker. I started getting mad. I just felt a feeling of rage, like, fuck you if you think I'd make this up. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And I know it's a waste of energy. It's not doing any good, but I'm not kidding. I walked in the bathroom and there was a Magic the Gathering card. I don't really remember which one it is because I gave it to Amy. But it was a good card. The pirate, he was telling me, listen, everybody. You know, you can be your own people. You can start your own religion, anything. But our people, history, since the holy fuck, since the restarting of the human race and the smaller man, reality breaks down into two categories: Aryan and banker. That's the split in the yugas, the ages, right? When we entered the age of Pisces, it was the most powerful god of all, of course, because it always is, but even more so knowing that this was the darkest age and not knowing for sure if this is, what's true about the cyclic cycles of ages, because it was the first time it ever played out. This was the first time, the first Earth, not the Matrix. Can I say it that way? And basically, the God who is a Jesus is a counterfeit of, a fake of. You see, I had 3 dreams of, quote, Jesus, but he would not say he was Jesus because he's not. Right? This is what I mean. There's a born into consensus thinking about Jesus. 2,000 years ago, it will be about Luke Skywalker. Right? They're like, yeah, he's the savior. Right? But it's a fictional character. How do you know this, Joe? Check this out. There's a category of writing, authorship, that's called historical fiction, right? If you don't recognize that the New Testament is historical fiction, it's because you're fucking a brainwashed MK Ultra, the whole country is covered in what you were born into that has actually, in a sense, brain damaged you. Right? Clear as a goddamn bell, the New Testament is historical fiction. Otherwise, would take a ton of real proof for anyone with any living soul. And I'm saying, when I was a Christian, my soul was dead. My magic was dead. Everything was fighting for life. And now the outside, the material me is, dead, fighting for life. But the inside of me, I have the rock solid assurance that what I believe is based on first grammar, logic, and rhetoric. In other words, data, analysis, and the confidence to express it. Can we say it like that? Data, analysis, expression of it, coherent expression of it, right? And that's half of it. The real confirmation is on the more real level of this reality where people go when they die. We call it the astral plane, but if you want to be Jewish and Kabbalist about it, you can call it whatever you want. We just say astral plane. Maria's here now. She's saying that comes from Paracelsus, whom we love. Like she said, I love his works. I love his words. He's like a Miguel Serrano of his time. Right. And let me take a just real quick break and we'll get to the reading. Yo, 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 yo. Miguel Serrano. Son of the widower. We're going to read this whole book. And I think we left off at this place right here. Remember, we read about the catastrophe. We read about the rabbis supposedly, after 2,000 years, they turned around and said, you know what? This is a myth. How you like that, nigga? Hey, for 2,000 years, take it literal, take it literal, take it literal, take it literal. Well, no, we were wrong. It's a myth. So who is Yahweh? The collective unconscious of the robots. The robots. Do we dare penetrate the shadows of the great mystery? Who are the bankers, really? For Alfred Rosenberg, they are the organic lie. And many years before, at the beginning of the 20th century, Nicholas Palacios, author of The Chilean Race, also stated, the banker can never tell the truth. He recommends that before we read a book, we should establish an identity of the author, and Mr. Nicholas says, if he's a banker, do not read it because the book is false. Bingo. Among the millions of beings inhabiting the earth, what is a follower of Judaism? Who is this follower of Judaism? Does it not seem to be an animal? Is it? It does not. It is not an animal. Right? Let me read that again. I'm sorry. I'm totally fucking everything up. Among the millions of beings inhabiting the earth, what is the follower of Judaism? It is not an animal, although it may be a Shiddim, nor is it human. Most probably it is a robot, AI, in the service of this extraterrestrial evil Jehovah. And as such, it must follow Jehovah's orders if it is to continue to exist. Thus, there is the people of God. That is Jehovah. That is Saturn. That is Satan. That is Saturday. Jehovah lives and feeds on the flesh and blood of the inhabitants of the earth. Let me just stop right here. And Maria saying, don't get it wrong. Jehovah is the Gollum Frankenstein that has been collectively created by the collective unconscious of these people who are the followers of Judaism. Jehovah lives and feeds on the blood and the flesh of the inhabitants of earth. Its agents are described in the biblical myths. For example, when Abraham prepares to sacrifice his son to feed Jehovah, wars and mass killings are the banquets of Jehovah. And as the Kali Yuga approaches its end, this dark devil, this archon, becomes acutely aware of its appetite and urgently requires a final banquet. Because for 50 years, since 1945, it has only fed on little wars. It is starving. Jehovah needs a new world war where the blood of the Aryan Goyim is shed in gushing torrents. On the contrary of this, Jehovah runs the risk of disappearing, together with Saturn, Satan, the prisoner archon of the demiurge. Therefore, it is necessary to create an unsustainable world situation with no way out other than a great war. Economic crisis is inevitable without the cheap oil of the Middle East. The destruction of the New York Towers gives the United States, which is to say the bankers, planetary domination.
Sorry, the retard I am. I forgot to fucking plug in the... Okay, with better audio. Therefore is it is starving. Jehovah needs a new world war where the blood of the Aryan Goyim is shed in gushing torrents. On the contrary of this, Jehovah runs the risk of disappearing, together with Satan, Saturn, the prisoner archon of the demiurge. Therefore, it is necessary to create an unsustainable world situation with no way out other than a great war. Economic crisis is inevitable without the cheap oil of the Middle East. The destruction of the New York Towers gives the United States, which is to say the bankers, planetary domination under the pretext of the war on terror. Those who are not for us are against us. George Bush. And finally, there is the collapse of the spiritual world in the West, thus leaving the leaders of the Christian churches and Freemasonry without support. The rabbis, whose own beliefs also seem to have crumbled, have in place already another instrument of dominion and pressure to enslave the non-Jews, another religion, another answer ready with which to continue torturing the Aryans with the guilt complex, their
Holocaust religion. If Christianity accuses the Goyim of having killed a god, the Holocaust blames them for killing the people of God. The former was used to accuse the Egyptians and the Romans. Now the Germans replace the Egyptians and the Romans. The Germans have been subjected as the others as they meekly accept the Jewish dictates and do penance in the museum temples of the Holocaust. The new religion, even when knowing that from the beginning this too was a lie, thus as the ancient Jewish religions and myths were built on falsehoods, so too the new religion of the Jewish Holocaust, with its 6 million sacrifices, the number 6 million being very archetypal in Judaism, is, of course, another lie, and its dogmas are blindly accepted by the non-Jews. The demon Jehovah projects its hypnosis. The demon Jehovah projects its hypnosis over the Goyim and thereby helps his people of robots. Right? The demon Jehovah projects its hypnosis over the Goyim and thereby helps his people of robots. But only for as long as they are successful in preparing its banquet. And if they are unable to produce a third world war, if they fail, would the new religion serve to console them, maintaining the cohesion of their people despite their growing worldwide loss of prestige? That remains to be seen. At the end of all things, in the nadir of the Kali Yuga, will their starving God abandon them? Okay, very important. That was the robots. Here is the Christians. One must ask now, if everything has been a lie, if the last 2,000 years were built on legends and myths, what then becomes of the Romanesque Gothic cathedrals? The marvelous music of Bach, the paintings of Michelangelo and Leonardo that are built on those myths. How is this possible? And what of the saints and mystics? A Saint John of the Cross, a Saint Teresa of Saint Francis of Assisi, and Ignatius of Loyola, and a Padre Pio himself. All for nothing, all completely useless. This is where another mystery comes to intervene, completely foreign to the actions of men as well as the biochemical robots. This is the strange action of the archetype and his incarnation or reincarnation on earth. Paul of Tarsus, who did not know Jesus, must lay hold of Mithraism to assemble his Christian story. And the archetype of the Greek Christos appears to him. That is not separate from the incarnation of Egyptian Horus and Osiris, Hindu Krishna, and the Avatara of Vishnu and Shiva. Then, with the Church of Rome already established through Visigoth, Merovingian, and Saxon posts, the Wotan of the Germans also makes his appearance, crucified on the Christian log like he was before on the pagan tree of life, the Yggdrasil of the Externstein. Through the various church councils, dogma has been created. incorporating small pieces or indications of archetypal revelation, but unfortunately hiding the essences. You hear that? Through the various church councils, dogma has been created, incorporating small pieces or indications of archetypal revelation, but, unfortunately, hiding the essences. We shall not ever know with scientific certainty if an ecclesiastic minority kept the secret thread of the mystery for itself, like an initiate cult able to transmit, redeem, and save that minority at the last moment of the maximum future crisis. Esoteric Christianity with a K. In India, a predestined child is born. His name is Krishna. Advised that this child will place his kingdom in danger, the tyrant Kansas gives the order to kill everyone born on that day. The child's mother, warned in time, is able to save him by escaping to the city of Vrindavan. The influence of India has been decisive throughout southeastern Europe and the African Middle East, according to the Count of Gabino. Egypt of the pharaohs herself was founded by Hindu emperors. The Jews, Christians, and Muslims erased the traces that were once still visible 2,000 years ago. In Nazareth of Galilee, a child is born named Jeshua, advised that he would one day place the kingdom in danger. The tyrant Herod orders the killing of every infant boy born on that day. His mother, also by means of a similar flight, saves the child. The story of the hero of Christianity is syncretism, a palimpsest of various personalities and events that have been fused together. Right, Jesus, the fictional character. Possibly the story resembles the life of a zealot, son of Judas of Gamala, a guerrilla rebel fighting against the Roman Empire who was executed and perhaps crucified. Then later, the Essene master, influenced by Buddhism, who teached love and equality in the region of the Dead Sea. From Mithraism, very popular among the Roman legions, they took the ceremonies of bread and wine and the banquets to the sun god that would later become the Mass, dedicated to the Father God. Mass coming from the word harvest. Also, the demon concept was taken from the Gnosticism of Alexandria, the demiurge, extracted from one half of the god Abraxas, and the idea and practice of the resurrection of the flesh proceeded from the Tao and Tantra of China and India. If at first this was all done by men, brilliantly planned and elaborated, then someone must have inspired them, disposed them, someone who knew, or rather the archetype from the outside, from far away, from above, or from below, from the inner earth, from the soul of the earth, because as we have already seen, history repeats in various parts of the world and on distinct schedules. And if at first a master knew the secret initiation and what the revelation consists of, then later this becomes obscured. It is hidden away from the masses and thus disappears seemingly forever, perhaps even for the few who originally knew it. What is involved is the recovery of a lost totality, the absolute self, the true self. The self, as Nietzsche and Jung say, the unus mundus, the unus mundus. At first, the initiate says, the Father and I are one same person. Brahma and I, the teacher and Brahman, are the same person. But as one goes forward on the difficult path, the I becomes conscious of the self, or rather of his astral body, actualizing it, making it visible, thereby expanding his I, making his person become total, aspiring to the absolute self. He approaches the separation from the Father, something achievable through the mystic death, or rather crucifixion. Conscious detachment in the revived astral body, which is experienced as a voluntary death accepted and provoked by the conscious rational I or self. And then Jesus is Christos, the absolute self, with a super consciousness, uniting with the Christos, with the self, with oneself. And he said to the good thief, who is also the Hercules that stole the golden apples in the garden of the Hesperides, and is Parsifal, who stole the grail, because these things at the heights of this involuted time of Hyperborea must be equivalent to a robbery, because now the totality can only be something to steal. This night the astral detaches during the night. You and I shall be together at the right hand of my Father. Yes, because he is no longer merged with his Father and is not lost in Brahma. Then he is himself an individual forever. The Father and I are not the same person, and not the same to the extent that he may be able to illuminate the obscurity of the real Creator. After death comes the resurrection of the flesh, which is the going away in the astral. While the physical body remains as if dead, this is Wotan on the Yggdrasil tree for 9 days. But this is also, in effect, the resurrection of the body from the tomb, the materialization of the astral body, or Jesus Christos after 3 days when they open the tomb and find it empty. The magus has been able to absorb the energy of the flesh and with it pierce through the astral body, clothing the astral body in an immortal, indestructible red substance called Vajra. The man has given birth to his subtle astral body, or the Son of Man, as Jesus Christos called him. Jesus has united to Christos, becoming a bodhisattva, a resurrected one, remaining still on earth without entering nirvana, in order to help his disciples. When the tomb of the ancient Taoist magus is open, they also do not find a body but a sword. That is Excalibur, because they have entered into combat to recover immortality. In the Christian legend, there is a beautiful story of the pilgrimage to Emmaus. After the death of Jesus Christos, the disciples leave and in sorrow remember their master. Suddenly a man joins them, begins to speak using the very words of Jesus. They are surprised, but do not recognize him, because the resurrected are not the same as the living. The astral only seems to resemble the physical body, with the two sides reversed and the pupils of the eyes becoming square. Only during dinner do they recognize him by this manner of breaking bread. Then they say to him, "Thou art the master." "Yes," he answers, "but do not touch me." If they had done so, they would have received a fatal shock. Vril. Hence, Christos, for a time, was also a bodhisattva on earth, they say for 40 days. After having resurrected in his body in order to go with it to eternity. Be right back with the rune. I mean, the other teaching. Okay, Last night we were finishing the death of Baldur, the white gods, and we're just gonna continue the white gods. All right, I mean, yeah, that's right. We did. We completely finished that, I believe. And we're reading from Miguel Serrano's Ultimate Avatar. And let me see if I can see the publishing date here. When did this first be published? It was first... I don't see it. This is a 2014 version. So I have a 2014. I guess I've had this book for 13 years. Wild. Okay. Page 391. The White Gods. Let me get my props. Let me get my book stand. Okay, the White Gods. Since the days of Hyperborea, the Nordic Veras. Okay, Vera is hero. It means semi-divine. It means man who's being initiated into being a god. So I'm going to just say heroes. Okay, Veras is Sanskrit for hero. Since the days of Hyperborea, the Nordic heroes reactivated their chakras, their runic centers, from above to below, the reverse of the yoga of Patanjali that goes from below to above. They search for the way out through the other pole, thus availing themselves of Shihi, the feminine element, so to speak. The Magus priestess, Valkyrie Worir, at the South Pole, the Magus of Amor, the Valkyrie. In some way, this repeats the extra cosmic drama and involution of the yugas, the foreign exiled entering into the material universe of the demiurge through some hole, some window or fold by the void, the sunya, the black sun, the window of Venus. That would be you're entering a business on Venus and getting jacked in. His mantra is Hamsa. Hamsa. The stranger is made prisoner of the eternal return and the involution of the demiurgic yugas. He now repeats the process of reactivation of his chakras in search of the way out that will free him. From above to below, from the golden age to the shadows of the iron age. Thus, one might think of a certain coincidence between yugas and chakras. The Sata Yuga, or Golden Age, coincides with the Sahasrara chakra, whose mantra is Saham, Hamsa, and Saham. The Sati Yuga, Golden Age, coincides with the Sahasrara chakra, whose mantra is Saham. And playing the spiritual other sky, the other sky. The Treti Yuga, or Silver Age, with the Ajna chakra, whose mantra is Om, and whose plane or heaven, the realm of the mind. The Dapara Yuga, or Bronze Age, with the Visuddha chakra, whose mantra is Hum, and whose plane or heaven, the ether. The Kali Yuga, or Iron Age, with the Anahata chakra, whose mantra is Yam, and plane or heaven, the air. The last chakra coincides with the cardiac plexus, and we have thereby the truth that all this dark age has been ruled by the Judaic counter initiation of Heart of Jesus the Jew. Let me read that one more time. The last chakra coincides with the cardiac plexus, the heart plexus. And we have thereby the truth that all this dark age has been ruled by the Judaic counter initiation of, quote, Heart of Jesus the Jew. The circuit is complete when the exit, sunya, void of the black sun, with its mantra, Hamsa, actually comes down here below on the other pole, wedding the opposites. The hero has become round. He is a god now, a master teacher. In Nordic Hyperborean yoga, the rune chakras are more numerous and thereby able to coincide with the sadhya and sadhyansa as well as with several sub-yugas. Okay? The Nordic Hyperborean Yoga rune chakra. They're able to coincide with several sub-yugas. Sorry. The Manipura chakra coincides with this interlude where, after the end of a yuga, the expiration which is the will to power, finds its balance, goes through its contemplating of itself. The Sadhya and Sadhya Hensa, the Manipura chakra, is like a segham. The Manipura chakra is like a point of reunion of the rivers of the soul in the solar plexus. Its mantra is Ram. Its plane, or heaven, fire. And it is water and fire that put an end to a yuga, to an age. In the language of the runes, this center is called Bibi Baruch, or rune bridge. The rune bridge, shaking of the runes. In the runic book of the Zophar, fundamental importance is given to the Gotin, or Goths. This word comes from gooey, good. The good comes from God. Gut comes from Gat. The origin of Gatten is unknown to us, like the derivation of the veneer and Asir. We only know that around the year 800 BC, they descended from the regions of South Sweden, from Jutland in Schleswig-Holstein, and headed towards the eastern regions of Germany. History goes back to the island of Gotland, land of God, land of the good. But the Goths came from submerged Hyperborea, true fatherland of God, of the gods of the good. They belonged to the most sacred tribe or community of German Aryans. Their twin kings conquered all of Europe and settled for centuries in Spain, now coming from the east, divided in two branches. Ostrogoths, bright gods, relucent, like the South Pole. And Visigoths, wise Goths, like a god. Between the years 150 and 485 of our era, the Ostrogoths, they belong to the most sacred tribe or community of the German Aryans. Their twin kings conquered all of Europe and settled for centuries in Spain, coming now from the east, divided into branches. Ostrogoths, Ostrogoths, bright gods, relucent like the South Pole, and Visigoths, wise Goths like a god. Between the years 150 and 484 of our era, the Goths conquered and colonized the regions of Russia, southern Turkey, Austria, France, and Italy with their twin king, Alaric. And finally, in Spain, Languedoc was Visigoth land. Their twin king, Gerseric, crossed Spain and went towards Africa, where he founded a kingdom that succumbed with King Galerier, led by Wandelen or the Vandals. The Goths carried a treasure with them, a mysterious stone on which was engraved the law and wisdom of their ancestors, a luminous tablet, a strange power, the Grail. This treasure was always taken safely through their battles and defeats, yet it never fell into the hands of the enemy. It was the treasure of Hyperborea. Together with its secret guardians, it was never found until the SS recovered it in the caves of Saberty near Montsegur, placing it into safekeeping on the Grailsberg of Berchtesgaden, where they were able to decrypt it. But that treasure was only a part of the Grail. The most secret wisdom was transported in so remote centuries to the other pole, now found again in the possession of the esoteric Hitlerist, the present day Visigoths. It is believed the Visigoths formed part of a most secret order with its headquarters in the Baltic region, the Order of the Green Thunderbolt. From there, the instruction to disappear would have reached them, giving way to the Merovingians. We shall go over all of this later. As is known, the Goths converted to Arianism, a sort of Nordic Christianity whose Bible was written by Wolfilis, an adulterated book. An adulterated book. Yet his true faith was that of Wotan and Thor. That faith is stamped on their runic monuments, raised by them and their hermanos in the Bronze Age, through all the places where they went with their Himmelstein, stones of sky wisdom, the menhirs, dolmens, and cromlech, the giants' beds, the beds of Brunhild. The word God, goat, das Gut, the good, literally meaning the good, is a Nordic Germanic expression adopted by every Aryan language. We have digressed, emphasizing the Visigoths in order to relate them directly to the white gods. We know that on this continent, the Spanish conquistadors everywhere encountered the legend of the enchanted cities of the Andes, inhabited by the white gods, the Ancahunkas, the true founders of the civilizations of America. That would be the white giants. Herman Cortez would never have been able to destroy the Aztec Empire with only a handful of adventurers without the legend of the white god Quetzalcoatl and the visions of Princess Papin, transmitted to Hermano, the Emperor Moctezuma. The white god Quetzalcoatl had left Mexico, disgusted by bloody sacrifices. You hear that? Disgusted by bloody sacrifices, as is said, those he had not been able to stop. Most likely the Visigoth priest warrior, perhaps a Viking, Quetzalcoatl, the plumed serpent, had left in search of a new refuge for his race, his religion, threatened by miscegenation with the slaves of Atlantis, quote, so-called slaves of Atlantis, surviving on the American soil that the Vikings called Huta Ramanana land. Wow. Hoot Ramanana, Huta Ramanana land, which meant land of white giants. They went in search of the secret cities of the Andes, discovered by their most distant Hyperborean ancestors. Legend has it that Papin had died, and she resurrected in order to tell her brother, Emperor Moctezuma, the visions she had while she was dead. She saw a house gliding over the sea. It came with white bearded men. She asked the emperor not to fight them, thinking about the return of Quetzalcoatl. Hernan Cortez took hold of the legend and the visions of Papin and destroyed an empire with less than 100 men. That beautiful legend of Papin must be seen in another light. The princess would have been a white seeress, a white shaman from those Nordic Germanic tribes established in America in very ancient times. A Norn, a Asin, a priestess of Odin. Her death would only be an initiatic trance, a mystic death, and her visions. Was Papin Alwyn mistaken? Switching the times, switching bodies, putting the past in the future? It may be she did not have the interpreter of her visions at her side, like the Sibyl of Delphi. Aberys may have left towards the furthest south with Quetzalcoatl in search of the other pole. This is Lou and Donna. The white gods, Spanish translation, Weisgott, are a transposition of the Visigoths. In truth, the ultimate white gods of America are the Visigoths, who arrived here many centuries before the Spaniards. But even before them, our ancestors had come. To describe them, we can contemplate the Atuna Huntana, or sunstone of the rocks of Santo Domingo in Chile, a work of blonde Libyans. Wow. According to Professor Mayhew, the blonde Libyans are descendants of Cro-Magnon man who went down to Africa after having depigmented around the North Pole. Do you hear that? After having depigmented around the North Pole during the last glaciation, some 8,000 years before our era. In the Paleolithic, they lived in southern France and North Africa. Following the migrating reindeer, they came to the Anglo-Scandinavian plains. How Cro-Magnon man, who according to Professor Worth was white, could or needed to depigment themselves is unknown. How Cro-Magnon man depigment themselves is unknown. I prefer to think with Mirzakovsky that those men were civilized missionaries from Atlantis, and they were always white. According to DeMehu, about 4,500 BC, they were forced to rapidly abandon the north. When Hyperborea was submerged beneath the sea, some took refuge in the forest, becoming the Nordic Germans. Others, sailing towards the south, went down to Africa and to America. They were the builders of the monoliths. We have seen the Frisian Chronicle also refers to this. The Frisians and Egyptian inscriptions describe the blonde Libyans for us as the Tamehu. In the age of the age of bronze, the Hyperboreans transported amber to Egypt. Libyans, already established in Greece, served as intermediaries. One of the amber routes was the Danube. The Hyperboreans arrived at the Black Sea and crossed the straits we now call the Dardanelles, controlled by the city of Troy. Around the year 2000 BC, the Hyperboreans, along with their Libyan cousins, seized that town, transforming it into a megalith fortress. 900 years later, the Achaeans, also coming from the north, took it, and the War of Homerus tells us in the Iliad. We know the higher castes were able to leave Troy. No one has ever been able to say what became of them with the scientific certainty. Virgil claims to reveal the secret to us in his Aeneid. Yet Professor D. Mayhew found those Trojans in South America and in North Argentina. The evidence he gives is irrefutable, though ignored and silenced by the great planetary conspiracy against the Hyperboreans and the white gods. We will pick up in this section that is called the white gods, the ancestral gods of us Europeans and the Asians And the Africans have the same story of their people having these paradises and gods. We'll be right back with Mother and a word from Mother. And first, know and always know that it's Maria and I who truly adore you. And I give Maria true thanks.
In a world where shadows fall, the creed takes hold, it's hard to call. Little Sita, hear the cries, mother's wisdom, it never dies. weLUVu Sita, rise up, unite, together push back, ignite the night. No more suffering, break the chains, we'll shout truth, fuse the pains. Behind the smiles, they steal away innocent souls caught in their blade. Bankers dance on the broken dreams, but in our hearts we spark the flame. Freedom calls out from the dark, we will ignite, we'll leave a mark. In every heart, let hope, her take flight. Eternal vigilance does arise.